Hi, my name's Michelle. I grew up in New Jersey, born and raised, and that's my friend. I also grew up riding motorcycles. I started off with dirt bikes at a really young age, about 5 years old. My first motorcycle was a little Honda Z50, and then after that I moved up to about an 80, then a 100, and then, you get the picture from there. I went from dirt bikes, got into street bikes, and I actually just got my first Harley last year. But prior to that, I really just started off zipping around on dirt bikes, really kind of just being a little punk. I went to a lot of pit parties, and I used to drag race with a lot of friends, and I actually met a couple of one percenters one night. I was about 13 years old, and at first I was scared, I'm not gonna lie. You hear the stories about them, you hear about how badass they are, and and how they feel about women. But they actually turned out to be some pretty cool dudes. I actually dated three outlaw bikers in my lifetime. They were all one percenters. You got the good and the bad from every side. I met some of the best people I ever met in my life were outlaw bikers. Actually, I feel like they were like a second family. But it's just like people. You have the good ones and the bad ones, and I have some stories I could tell you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's see. I was dating one guy. He was pagan. And he was probably one of the sweetest guys I've ever met in my life. But his father, he was a monster. And the guy didn't like me very much because he was real old school biker. Kind of like, women, their only place is in the kitchen sort of ordeal.
Okay, so like 1950s persona. Okay.
Real old school. And he didn't like me too much because I wasn't like that. I'm a loud mouth, I'll fight you no matter how big you are kind of person. He was kind of like, women belong on the back of the bike. And my boyfriend at the time was like, no, she belongs on the front of the bike. You don't understand, He didn't like that, so we constantly butt heads a lot. And I remember one night in particular, oh my God, we were at a party and everybody was getting wrecked. And the drugs were pretty crazy with the outlaw bikers.
What kind of drugs were they doing?
A lot of the times it was speed. It was crystal meth, because that was one of the main things that they deal. A lot of cocaine. There was also some other stuff like heroin going around, hallucinogens.
Oh, like which club was it?
It was the Pagans.
Okay.
And I've met some other club members as well, but I mostly have experience with Pagans in particular. And they threw a lot of crazy parties, and it was all the drug scene, and it was very, very fast paced. Basically, you had like a hierarchy. You had like hang-arounds, which were just pretty much wannabes that wanted to hang out, affiliates, if you will.
Okay.
And then you had prospects, which, if you know anything about fraternities, it's almost like a fraternity system where you have the lower rank frat boys, and then you have seniority, and pretty much you would tell these prospects, these lower ranking frat boys, if you will, of the biker world, to do anything. You could tell them to do anything, and they had to do it because they had to prove their loyalty. If they didn't prove their loyalty, you were out or you were getting your ass kicked.
No, how would they prove their loyalty?
It could have been anything. I mean, I've seen loads of prospects, these young men, line up to play naked tug of war over piles of pig shit, wearing nothing but boots and their colors, meaning their vests, to going to make a drug run 4 states over You know, I mean, you could call someone 5 o'clock in the morning. Could have been the weirdest time ever. You could have been doing anything. You could have been sick. You could be at a job. You could be having sex. It didn't matter. When you got a call from a brother to go do something, you went and did it. And it was like a fraternity in that respect. But I will tell you, from a woman's point of view, it was different. A woman can't be a full patched member. You basically are nothing more than property to them. And every once in a while, you get lucky and you find a nice one that will actually treat you right. And then you'll find the other ones that treat you like a dog. I was lucky, and I found some very nice ones. I was never treated unfair. I was never treated poorly, except for some of the older ones. But even then, I had to earn some respect. To a biker, you're nothing more than an old lady if you're a woman. But you know, every once in a while, you'll get a few women that prove their worth by doing certain things. And that could also be a number of things as well. I'm not going to go into detail about that because it can get pretty violent. But as for the motorcycle culture, for the most part, if you're a woman, you were stuck on the back unless you actually had permission to ride. And, you know, I was lucky enough to have a really sweet guy there. You know, the first Harley I ever rode was a Sportster, and it was his. And it was a 1200, and it was a beautiful bike. And ever since then, I fell in love. Because prior to that, I'd only rode, you know, dirt bikes, Japanese motorcycles, smaller, low-level bikes, and it doesn't provide the same exhilaration that you would get from an American-made V-twin engine that you get on a Harley. But I will tell you this about the outlaw culture. They don't like Japanese motorcycles. They don't like foreign motorcycles unless it's really like a European bike. And I will tell you why. The reason is a lot of these bike clubs were actually founded by veterans, war veterans. And we fought against the Japanese. We fought against the Koreans. And we fought against the Vietnamese. And when they came over here, they figured, why would you buy from the enemy that we fought? We came back, no, we need to survive. We need to bring back American, you know, culture. So that one of the ways they did that was by proving their loyalty by riding American motorcycles. Harley Davidson, Indian, two biggest ones. Victory came along later. But a lot of the other bikes that they would ride, you would get like Triumphs, BSAs, Nortons in there. There were also European motorcycles, but you weren't allowed to ride a Japanese motorcycle. So a lot of the times they got rid of, you know, the Japanese riders. They would tell them you're not allowed to ride that, and you know, we can't have you in our club if you're going to support that. So, you know, you had to have an American motorcycle, and you had to be prepared to ride an American motorcycle if you wanted to be a one percenter or an outlaw biker. So, one of the things that I learned growing up